This video is going to show you how to create a dresser or a nightstand or anything that's boxy. So you want to make sure, as always, that you leave yourself enough room for a tab. So I'm going to give myself a little tab. And then I'm going to say I need 3 different sizes for my 2 sides and then 1 for my top. So my outside 2 will be different than my top unless those measurements just so happen to be even. So I'm going to give myself a tab over on this side as a way to start. And so essentially what I'm saying here is that these are the 2 sides that are going to attach to my floor. So if my nightstand is going to be, I don't know, let's say it's going to be a foot tall, 2 feet tall, let's say 2 feet tall. Then I would have to put a mark here and a mark here to create that height. And then this essentially is going to be one of my legs. And so depending on how you want it, if you want all 4 sides to be boxed in, you're going to have to be thinking a little bit on how you want that to work. So I'm going to do one that has all sides boxed in. I am going to say that that's how tall I want it to be on both sides. And I will do my little 90-degree mark, just like I've done on everything else. So I'm going to go 90 degrees. And I'm going to do another 90-degree mark over on this side. I'm going to just draw little connectors. So you can see that my 90 actually got a little bit off, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that really quick. That's approximately what it's going to look like. So what you're saying at this point, and I know it looks confusing, but here's how it works, is this is your top right here. These are your legs, or your sides, depending on how you want them to look. So if your top is going to be, let's say 2 feet, I'm just going to make it easy on myself and say 2 feet by 2 feet. If yours is different, you'll have to measure a little differently. So you'll say 2 feet, 2 feet. I'm going to do my little 90-degree mark so I can do a connector. 2 feet, 2 feet. Connector. And then that is my top. So I've got my leg, leg, top. Now I'm just going to go ahead and extend my line out so that I can make it pretty easy on myself. You may have to go back in and measure some of these. If your lines are a little bit off or if they're looking weird, you may have to go back in and measure. So I'm just going to do some reference lines to give myself some space to work. Now I'm going to say that my leg is going to be 2 feet again. If you have a top that is not square, your legs are going to have to be measured differently. So you need to make sure when you're doing it that this leg lines up with how tall it actually is. And then same with this leg. But if yours was to go over or whatever, then you would just extend, fold, fold, fold. I'm going to continue just doing it with my square. Then we would put our mark there. Put our mark there. I know this kind of looks complicated, but once you actually go to fold it together, it's going to make a lot more sense. And so these are going to be where we connect to the floor, which means I actually need to give myself a little bit of extra space, so I have a tab. So I'm going to make sure that I do that. Tab. And then I'm going to cut out this little cross shape. So I'm going to cut it here, here. It's also not a terrible idea for you to give yourself a little bit of extra space so that if for some reason your measurements end up being wrong, you have something to work with. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to give myself some extra wiggle room just in case. All right, now I've got this weird shape. So I'm gonna fold on each of my legs so that I kind of seclude my top from the other things. Fold, fold. And I'm also gonna fold on where I said that these legs were gonna hit the floor. Now I have really long legs right now. I'm gonna cut those down. So since I made sure that I gave myself some extra room, I can sit here and measure and say, okay, I did that right, I did that right, I did that wrong, I did that wrong, and I can fix whatever I need to fix. So I'm going to cut mine off, And now, when I go to put these together, I can just tape along the outside, or I can tape on the inside and just put where those legs attach. So for the sake of making it easy, I'm just going to do a couple of these. So I'm going to say that mine attaches right like that. I'm going to stick some tape on. If you want this to be really perfect, you can really sit here and measure it. As long as it's pretty close, I'm going to be happy. And then that gives me a really good place to go when I go to attach this to the floor. So I would probably actually go ahead and attach one side so it sticks to my floor. Then I would go through and fill in the rest of these. So now you can see that I have a really great looking square top. And then my walls on each of these are the same. So I have 4 sides in the bottom that attaches. Again, like I said, I would attach this first to your floor, then put these in. One last reminder, before you go through and tape this all together, you need to have it colored because it's going to be really difficult to color something that's 3D. So get it colored before you tape it to itself and before you tape it to the floor. This goes for dressers and everything else too. If I had we'll go with a nightstand since this is kind of a nightstand shape. So if I have a nightstand that has a drawer on it, I would figure out which side I wanted the drawer to be on. And I would, with my protractor, I would not eyeball this like I am about to do. Draw my drawer. Put my knob on wherever you want it. And then that could be like a drawer for my dresser or for my nightstand. So you want to make sure that all of that is on before you attach it to itself and before you attach it to your floor.